everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video I actually have a little foundation review on the Collection Lasting Perfection Matte Foundation. So I actually got this foundation last week and I've been trying it obviously last week up until now, which is like a week later. So obviously I have a good amount of things that I can say about this foundation. So if you do want to find out if the Collection Lasting Perfection foundation is actually worth the money or not, then just keep watching. So this foundation actually costs £6.49, which is literally I think one of the cheapest foundations that I've ever used. One of my all-time favourites is the Maybelline Superstay, and I think that's around like £7.99, so I feel like drugstore foundations are around like £7 and £10. So I feel like because it's £6.50, well £6.49, I feel like they're being quite competitive that way, because I feel like you wouldn't get a cheaper foundation from the drugstore, which is actually good because I mean this wee foundation, it also comes in 20 different shades as well, and I'm on the website right now and you can kind of see a little brief overview of the different tones of the colours they have. So you can see they do have a good wide selection of shades, which of course is amazing, so fair play to Collection for including 20 different shades, especially for like a foundation that's only £6.50. Sometimes like cheaper end foundations or like lower end brands would only ever really bring out like 5 or like 6 or 7 colours, just because obviously they can't really afford as a brand to launch like an entire collection. So it is good the fact that they have obviously branched out and actually made 20 different shades ranging in like all different colours too. It also has SPF 30, which is also a wee plus too, so it's going to help protect your skin obviously as you wear it as well. And if you're a long time subscriber of mine, you would know that I love the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer. This is actually the new packaging one, obviously to match the foundation. It used to just have like a black lid and a little plain tube. So on the website it says the benefits of this foundation are that it's 16-hour wear, it's a matte finish, it's vegan, it's buildable, blendable and breathable, and it's also sweat proof. And on the back of the bottle it also says it is water resistant, transfer proof, full coverage and no clogged pores also. So that is a lot of claims for a £6.50 foundation to kind of stand up to, so it will be interesting to see what way this performs and what way it looks in the skin, and to see if it actually does do what it says like on the bottle and on their website. So yeah, so I have number 8 beige, which is this one right here, and I also have the shade Buttermilk, which is number 10. So here is a little swatch of the 2 shades, so that is number 8 and then that is number 10. Okay, so now on to the really exciting part, which is applying the foundation and showing you guys what it actually looks like on my skin. So I don't really use primers that often, and to be honest I find primers a little bit pointless, so I'm not really going to use a primer because I feel like sometimes a primer can react with the foundation and like alter the way the foundation performs. So because of that, I'm just going to apply a little bit of moisturiser on my skin, which is the same thing that I always do. I've recently been using the CeraVe moisturising lotion, which again, if you want a little review on this, then just comment down below and I'll let you know my thoughts. But yeah, I've been trying out this moisturiser too, so if you do want a review, just let me know. I literally only use that wee tiny amount and just put it all over my skin. And obviously whenever you put on your moisturiser, do give it a little bit of time just to kind of sit into your skin, or else it will obviously affect the performance of the foundation. But moisturiser is essential, and I find moisturiser is just like key to making your foundation just sit nice, last long. I feel like sometimes primers can just kind of like actually go against the idea of making your makeup last long and actually make the makeup look worse. But some primers are good, some are weird, but I recommend always just moisturising before you put your foundation on. So on this side I'm going to use a little makeup brush just to show you guys what it looks like applying it with a brush, and then on this side I'm going to use a wee sponge just to show you guys like if using different tools it can look different, or if it just kind of looks the same, or like what way the coverage and stuff could be. But yeah, I'm going to do a brush on this side, a wee sponge on this side. So here is a wee swatch of number 8 on my skin, so you can see it is quite pale compared to my body. But to be honest, once I put this on and kind of blend it all over, it does kind of match. But the only reason why I don't really like this one all over my skin is because this is a little bit too pink. So I am going to add just a touch of the number 10 shade into it to make it a little bit more like bronzy and yellow looking. So I've just mixed up the foundation here, and that's kind of like what it's like. It is quite thick of a foundation. Sometimes liquid foundations would be a little bit more runnier than this, so it is quite thick. So what I like to do is just take a flat brush first of all and just apply it all around my skin. And I do like a pretty much good even layer. Obviously if you like a lighter coverage you can put it on in a quite sheer way, but obviously this foundation did say it is a full coverage, so I am aiming to kind of see how full this coverage can be just with one thin even layer. Obviously it looks like a lot of product now, but whenever I pat this on and spread it out it does kind of sheer out. But this is exactly about the normal amount of foundation that I would normally use anyway. So I'll just zoom you guys in so you can see just what it looks like on my skin, and this is exactly how I would normally blend in my foundation too, by just doing little pat motions. So far it looks so nice on my skin, and it definitely has a medium to full coverage, and I would say already by this thin layer it is looking more medium to full coverage, and I would say another wee thin layer would probably make it look just completely opaque and full coverage. So you can see that's giving my skin with a really nice wee amount of coverage, and what I'm going to do is just go in with another little thin layer, especially on my chin because that's where I have a couple of little like red marks and stuff from a few spots. Just go on with a little bit more, and then you'll be able to see exactly if it's buildable and if you can really add and build the coverage up. The finish of this foundation is so nice as well, because normally I would steer away from matte foundations because this this one does say it is very matte, but matte foundations for me can sometimes look very drying and just very dehydrating because I would have more dry skin, but this actually still has like a little bit of like a shine to it without it being totally just dry and flat matte, you know what I mean? So now that I've blended in this side, you can really see the difference between obviously foundation here, like really full coverage, and then between like bare skin here, and you can see just like how nice it looks on my skin. Like it doesn't look patchy, it's blended really nicely, and it's actually starting to dry down. It still feels a little bit sticky, but like not as sticky as what like one of my normal foundations would normally feel like. It does feel quite like matte, and it actually still feels like skin. Like it doesn't look cakey or thick or anything in the slightest. Like it actually looks really nice, and the brush has made it apply it really lovely as well. Sometimes makeup brushes just don't work well with certain foundations and only work well with sponges, so it'll be interesting to see what this side looks like with a sponge. So again, doing the exact same thing, just going in with my little flat brush and just painting on a nice little thin layer of foundation on this side. And then now I'm just going to blend this one in with my little beauty blender, and overall I find beauty blenders do give a more natural finish. So I'm not expecting this side to be as full coverage as this side because obviously I dampened the sponge. So whenever you dampen your makeup sponge, obviously there's going to be like a little bit of moisture and water in it, which then will obviously shear out the coverage of your foundation a little bit because you're kind of like diluting it down. So just be aware of that. Obviously if you're ever using a sponge and wondering why your foundations aren't like the best coverage, I would recommend using brushes if you're wanting like the fullest of coverage. But sponges give you more of a natural type of finish because they do absorb all the excess product, whereas whenever you use a brush, the product doesn't really absorb into the brush as much. It's more just sitting on your actual skin. But it's just kind of two different finishes that you can go for with using just the same product with different tools obviously. So on this side with applying it with the sponge, it literally just looks like a more natural lighter version of this side. You can see this side is just really full coverage, whereas this side is a little bit more of a medium coverage, but it's still really nice, and I feel like it would be perfect more for like an everyday type of coverage, and then this is more of like full glam, you know what I mean? But overall it literally looks so nice on my skin, and it feels really lightweight too. Like it doesn't feel cakey or nothing. Like what the hell? God, this foundation, like £6.50, what the crack? Like what is the actual crack? £6.50 years ago would have got you like shit in a bottle, you know what I mean? Now you can actually get a genuine good foundation for £6.50, which is just kind of like my NARS Longwear Radiant foundation, which I think is like £32, and this is only £6.50. Like what is the crack with that? Okay, so now that I have it all applied, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and use the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer, obviously just to use it with the foundation because they are meant to work perfectly together, obviously because they're part of the same collection. Because I mean, like you could get your concealer and your foundation for literally like a tenner or something, because I feel like the concealer I think is only like a £5 or something, which is amazing. But I love this concealer. This is like a cult favourite of mine, and the shade that I have in this, by the way, is number 6 Cashew, if you're wondering. But this is a really good full coverage concealer, lasts all day as well. That's another thing with the Lasting Perfection line, you aren't just paying for like a really good full coverage foundation, you're actually getting like the longevity out of it, which I feel like sometimes drugstore foundations don't really do. Like they don't really perform all day long, whereas this one, whenever I wore it the other day, like it literally stayed looking perfect all day. Like I was in actual shock. Like it was literally an actual shock. Because I've already done a layer of foundation underneath my eyes, I'm just going to take my sponge and blend my concealer out with my sponge because I don't want it to look too cakey. Obviously you can go ahead in with a brush if you want your concealer to be a little bit more fuller coverage. But like this foundation, this concealer together, match made in heaven, so good, and especially for the price, unbelievable. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and do the rest of my base routine, and I'll come on and show you guys what my base looks like, obviously whenever I have my bronzer, my blush and my highlight and stuff on, and then obviously I'll come back at the very end whenever I have my entire makeup on. But yeah, I'll see you in 2. So guys, I'm just back from doing the rest of my makeup, and one thing I would say is you guys just need to go and get this foundation for £6.50. Like I don't actually know one bad thing that I could say about this foundation so far. Like I have literally been using this every day since I got it, and I feel like it lasts an amazing amount of time, and I know that I wouldn't have expected anything less from this foundation, because for Collection to bring out a foundation that's from the Lasting Perfection line, and especially from a concealer that used to do, well it still does so well, obviously they couldn't bring out a foundation that was going to be really shit, and obviously an amazing concealer and then a really shit foundation. They're obviously going to make this foundation up to the standard of the concealer, because the wee concealer just unreal. But yeah, this is literally a huge thumbs up for me, just because the price of it is £6.50 and it performs so good. And normally foundations from the drugstore, if they're that cheap, sometimes there's at least something bad about it. I mean, like this foundation is just unreal. Like there's nothing bad I can literally say about it. The coverage is unreal, the colours are good, it lasts a really long time, it applies really well. Oh my god, it's literally just the best foundation for £6.50. So guys, if there's any other foundations or even just any other like makeup products in general that you would like me to review on my YouTube channel, just comment comment down below and let me know like what products you'd like me to try out, because obviously I know you guys probably don't want to obviously spend your money and like take that risk on trying makeup out, especially if you don't know if it's going to be good or bad. So obviously if you comment down below and let me know, I can go ahead and buy this stuff and I can make these videos for you guys to see like what is actually good and worth the money. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and also don't forget to turn on the little notification bell beside the little subscribe button, just so that you are notified whenever I upload, because recently I've just been pretty much uploading videos just whenever. There has been really like no schedule to it, so at least if you have the notifications turned on, you'll be able to get a little notification on when I do upload. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in my next one. Bye!